Well, good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to hop on live for a little bit and touch base with everybody. Part of the reasons I'm going live today is because one of the weekly programs that goes live on Monday nights will not be going on tonight because everybody's out of town. So I thought, well, since nobody else is going live in this space on the Monday, I thought I'll just hop on for a little bit and chat. Now, this is kind of last minute. I just scheduled this about an hour ago. And I thought I'd touch base on a few things. First of all, about censorship and artificial intelligence. It's an experience I just recently went through the last couple of days. I've been talking about it on Facebook Live, but I'm very careful about talking about it too much here. But I do want to talk about that. But I wanted, before I got there, I thought I'm going to wait for a few more people to hop in on the chat in the room here. By the way, check out the chat. For those of you who would like to make a contribution to get a shout out, that'd be great. We actually ended up raising $130 last time I did this, which was really shocking. I raised 30 that night, and then somebody said, I don't know how to do chat, but I want to send you a Venmo donation for $100. So that was really nice. And I wanted to just talk about a few things that happened this past weekend. And really, honestly, the past 96 hours have been kind of crazy. Jason Brewer, what's up, Steve? Hey, Jason, thanks for hopping on. And so, yeah, this was a last minute thing. Like, again, people, there's not going to be a live newscast tonight. That's on the Mormon Discussions platform and Mormonish platform. Originally, that was called the Mormon Times, and there's a story there, by the way. It's no longer called the Mormon Times. And one day, I would like to hopefully share what happened. Maybe one day we can tell that story, why they no longer call it the Mormon Times. But the weekly news program that is on those platforms is not going to be on tonight. So I thought, well, I'm going to go live. Why not? Let's just have a conversation. I want to update everybody on what's going on with the channel. But first of all, I have to start with this. Yesterday, I met at the Cracker Barrel, met with somebody and took them to my church. They live about an hour north of here, and they are a Latter-day Saint. They're a Mormon. And this person wanted to visit my church. He saw my interview with Pastor Dan Biner, or Bishop Dan Miner, as Summer Rain likes to call him. And he wanted to come out and visit my church. So I'm like, sure. And so he said, well, I'm going to make your mom a batch of molasses cookies, which are really good. So I'm going to try, because I'm a low carb guy. My mom had one yesterday, and she said it was really good. So I'm going to try this nice molasses cookie that was baked for my mom by a Mormon. So that we got to my mom after attending church with them. So I'm going to see how this is. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good cookie. Not a good flavor there. Yeah. I like it. Blake, these are really good cookies. Blake's a really cool dude. He got to meet my pastor, and he really had a really nice one-on-one conversation with my pastor. What's so cool about the Harvest in Sarasota is it's a welcoming church to everybody. Now, there's a lot of people in the ex-Mormon world that hate me because I'm an evangelical. And that's because they just know me as an evangelical. They obviously haven't watched my Mormon Stories interview, and they obviously don't watch my channel because they know that I say kind things about atheists on my show. But what was so cool and so interesting, and not to say all ex-Mormons are atheists, what was so cool was that I walk in, and my friend Blake had to go use the restroom, so I walk into the sanctuary, and this guy walks by, and he turns around and says, "Oh, are you Steve?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "My wife's the worship leader," and she said she was telling me all about you, and you sound like a really interesting dude. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And he's like, "I'm an atheist." You hear that? I walked into a church sanctuary, and the first person I run into is an atheist. Isn't that interesting? And he feels welcome there. See, that's the key thing. A lot of the haters out there don't really know my full story. There are haters on the right and the evangelical side that don't know my full story. And there are haters in the ex-Mormon community. Excuse me, I'm very thirsty. It's been really, really warm, and I'm dehydrated. So I need to drink this. So I know it can be a little distracting, so I'll do it minimal. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Somebody just gave me a $50 donation on Venmo. Thank you. And you're the same person that gave that $100 gift last time, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I'm going to say thanks to Steve for the $50 Venmo donation. That's great. Some of my favorite. Okay, Jason Brewer writes, some of my favorite people are atheists, although I'm not sure if they really exist. Oh, well, it's always interesting, right? To contemplate, And I think, but that's the thing. So I'm going to this church that's affirming of everyone's humanity. So I literally get criticized by evangelical Christians because I go to a church that affirms everybody's basic humanity and dignity, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to let those people in their church. They don't want that atheist sitting in the front row. But it's sitting in the front row of this church. You see? So that's the kind of church I go to that's welcoming to all people. So my pastor embraced my Mormon friend and treated him as a fellow image bearer. That's what I am trying to do. And it was a beautiful time. And it was Storyteller Sunday. And Storyteller Sunday, they do once a month, and where he interviews guests, not guests. Well, sometimes he'll interview podcast guests. Like he's going to do a full episode with me. Well, I'm hoping to do like a Mormon Book Reviews episode as well, but he's going to interview me at his church, and he interviews members of the church. So he interviewed 2 congregants of the church. One was a gay man who was raised Catholic, who never thought that religion would ever have any place for him. He's now has a big podcast about queer people who have substance abuse and alcohol issues. And I got to get the name of that video. I'll get the name. His name's Steve as well. And talked about he didn't think there was a place for somebody like him in any church. And then he found Harvest and found a place, because what happened was he 3 years ago, he started going to AA, and he learned the idea of a higher power. And so that brought him into the realm of spirituality and faith. And so that he found a place at that church. He was welcome there. Most evangelical churches wouldn't welcome that man. He was welcome there. Then the second person that talked was a woman who is an evangelical who's deconstructed her faith. And she talked about the pain of going through a faith deconstruction and trying to hold on to faith and hold on to a church community. Again, this person would not be put on stage on 99% of evangelical churches. That's why I love this church. It's very reflective of my values and what I think is important. And Jason Brewer says, that's in jest, that quip. Even the atheists are believers in foxholes, which is not true, or the trenches or whatever. I actually really appreciate conversations with my many self-proclaimed atheists. Yeah. Usually the atheists probably know the Bible better than you and than us, right? And then the average evangelical. And atheists can be delightful people. And I don't think they should be hated on. I think we should just have conversations with them. There's a reason why people become an atheist. It's not always because they want to sin. A lot of people can become atheists because a lot of things were done, bad things were done to them, either done to them or done to other people in the name of God, that causes them to say, I don't want to have anything to do with God that has anything to do with this. That's what atheism often is. And then Jason says the virtue of atheists is that they're not superstitious. Yeah, and I was an atheist for 12 years. So yeah, basically all superstition's been removed from me. I'm a pretty hardcore science guy myself. So, okay, so let me see. Greg, the channel, just so you know, everybody, I just want to give a channel update. January was a record-setting month for the most views we ever had. And what was so fascinating is that February was the second best month ever in the history of MBR. And it just a couple thousand less views than what we did in January. And that's the shortest day of the year. And we didn't even need the leap day. It was my second best video month ever, even without the leap day. So we're really excited. And just so you know, within the next week and a half, depending on how many our views get, we'll be at 1 million views. That to me is a major milestone, to be at 1 million views less than 3 years after starting this whole thing. I would have never dreamed in a million years that we'd get to 1 million views. I just thought that was a number that seemed so impossible. And just to be right at the doorstep of 1 million views is so exciting. And I want to thank all of you. You know, some of you who are watching, you may have just found this channel a month ago. Some of you may have found it 2 years ago. I hear from people all the time. Oh yeah, I remember watching your Mormon stories. That's when I joined. And can you believe it'll be 2 years? Later this month, it will be 2 years when I was in the Mormon Stories studio and doing 5 episodes set over the course of 2 days with John. I think I'm the only person that's ever been on Mormon Stories for a full week, Monday through Friday. And that certainly gave me a lot of exposure. But when I went on Mormon Stories, my channel had less than 1,000 subscribers. And now we're over 7,000. I hope to get to 10,000 in the next couple months. My goal is to get to 10,000 by General Conference, but that probably won't happen. But we'll be at 10,000, and that to me is the next. That's the next milestone for the channel. So okay, let me talk about what happened. For those of you who jumped on, is on Friday, I interviewed somebody. Her name's Claire, and she's got the podcast called The Clarity Project. And Claire has chronic health issues. And Claire has some very strong opinions and beliefs about, and she says she's done her research. So I'm not going to say that this is all just belief, but I do think I want to use the term belief because she has some beliefs about particular medical procedures that happen that she's critical of. And when we all know about a few years ago when we had this huge event that caused us to shut down everything, and then they had this solution to tout it out, she was opposed to that. And she was opposed to a lot of people in the religious world that embraced this medical thing, this medical treatment. And so she was highly critical of it. So on Friday morning, we taped the interview. This is what's so weird. I had no idea. So I want to make people aware that on this platform, what you need to understand is that artificial intelligence, and it has to be artificial intelligence, and I'll explain to you why I think it was artificial intelligence, censors people. So I post this video. Think about this. I want you all to think. So what happens is when I record a Zoom call, it goes into a file, and then I immediately, just to be on the safe side in case something happens with my computer or my file, I immediately then upload that to my YouTube channel. And then it's unlisted, okay? It's either private or unlisted, right? And it wasn't released publicly, okay? And within an hour, I think it was within 45 minutes to an hour, maybe somewhere 30, 45 minutes. It wasn't long. After I released the video, I got saying that the video was flagged. What's going on here? It says that this goes against some of the guidelines of the community. So I'm like, okay. So they gave me this two-pronged thing. One, they wanted me to take a training course. And the training course is they asked me 7 questions. I passed with flying colors. I got all 7 questions correct. So I'm like, okay, great. And they said, would you like to make an appeal? I'm like, yeah. So I make an appeal, and I type in 2 sentences. It only gives me 2 sentences to type in like my appeal, which I thought, that seems strange. Like you would think they'd let somebody at least write a paragraph explaining why they don't think this thing should be taken down. But I thought, okay, well, I just wrote down a real basic 2 paragraphs. And then I sent it, and then I get a message, and they said, okay, well, you should hear within 72 hours. I'm like, well, that's fine. I've taped this on Friday. I'm planning on posting this on my Tuesday slot. Didn't think anything of it. It wasn't 72 hours. It was more like 7.2 minutes later. I get a message saying that your video's been removed. I'm like, my video's been removed? And I realized no single human being ever watched that video. AI apparently is going through, just so you know, folks, that when you post a video on your YouTube channel and it even hasn't been released, let's say you did a private video for your family or friends that you're only going to one listed and you're going to only send it to a handful of people, they will take that video down. What was crazy for me is that, YouTube enables people to actually, once a video is downloaded onto YouTube, once a video is downloaded, I didn't realize that immediately after that happens, they go through it. I didn't realize that. I had no idea. So I'm kind of like, I thought this is really strange, because then I started thinking to myself, these are her beliefs that inform her, and she's telling her story on my channel. This is what people do. They talk about their stories, and part of that story was that issue. And the thing about it is like I was saying earlier, now I got my train of thought back, was they don't know if I'm going to edit that video, because you can edit your videos after you upload them to YouTube and before you release them. Heck, you can edit your videos after you release them. Did you know that? We've done that once. Yeah, we did. And so I thought, okay, I'd have more respect as if I released the video yesterday and then an actual human being watches it, and then they have concerns and they take it to YouTube, and then a person at YouTube actually reviews the video, and if they have an issue, that's fine. But I would like the opportunity to plead my case and talk about the totality of my channel, about all the different issues we talked about, and that this is only one conversation in the context of a much broader conversation that's happening. And this was this was one of the most powerful interviews I ever did. Now, somebody had mentioned about possibly posting it on another social media site. I will say that that's in the works. I'm not going to do it, but I do look for it to possibly be released on a different platform, because I do want that first interview to get out there. But what we did was we went on Saturday, and I interviewed with Claire again for a second time. This is really funny, because actually this happened once before, where the powers that be wanted me to remove an interview, and because the person could have lost their job if they didn't, we retaped the interview. That's a crazy story. I can't really talk about the whole, but I did it for a friend. But this institution wanted me to release it to. And this is when I was just a tiny channel. I was shocked that the people in high places are watching my channel even back then. So I was like, okay, so that was another interesting time. So this was the second time that I had to retape an interview, and it did kind of feel a little 1984ish, a little bit, a little Orwellian to think that we had to watch what we had to say. And then this is the other thing that happens. So basically what happens is I've been given a warning. And then I was told that if I were to put out any misleading information dealing with this topic, because I have to be careful here, that if within the next 90 days, my channel will get a strike. And I think it's 3 strikes, you're out, right? And so I'm like, I don't want to get my channel removed. So I'm look, I love YouTube. Okay. And I will abide by the rules. Obviously, it's their platform. I get that. But I just am a little concerned about the way the process went down. The idea that not a single human being watched this video. It was all done via AI. That's just a Brave New World type kind of situation there. So yeah, and Jason's making a lot of comments. Jason's the only one making comments, so that's fine. And then Jason, I do always appreciate. I did want to remind everybody, if you'd like to get, oh, and by the way, yeah, you mentioned another YouTuber about the spiral silence. I've been in touch with him, Jason. So I am going to be taking this story to other platforms. I'm going to be taking this to faithful platforms. I'm going to be taking this to, I've offered to, I'm talking to some other podcasters that are kind of in the ex-Mormon space as well. Because I don't care where you stand on any of these issues politically or whatever. I think the idea that AI is being used to censor us is, I find to be very, very concerning. And I liken it unto, imagine, so I have a guest on who talks about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And AI goes through it and says, oh, this is a false scientific information because it's scientifically impossible for there to be resurrections. Therefore, we're taking it down. The other thing that what I found so weird was that the AI went through. Why don't they give me the option? Why don't they say, okay, this is the point, this is the spot that we have an issue that's causing this, and they give me the timestamp and give me the opportunity just to edit that out. They just pulled the whole thing down. That was a little concerning. You know, I didn't like that. So yeah, Marquita asks what happened. Yeah, basically I taped an interview Friday for those of you who are just jumping in, and within an hour of me posting it, it was removed by YouTube, and I even appealed it, and the appeal was denied within a few minutes of issuing the appeal, and it was struck down and taken down. So just keep this in mind. You, even if you just have a small little YouTube channel that you just share with your family and friends, they can take that stuff down if you say something objectionable. I just want people to be aware of it, okay? And just be careful what you say, I guess. You know, I want people to be successful on this platform. Like I said, I love YouTube. I think it's awesome. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for YouTube. I think it's a remarkable place to have wonderful, interesting conversations. And folks, don't we have like some of the most awesome guests you could possibly imagine? I mean, wasn't it cool that I got to, a man drops off baked cookies for my mom to eat, and I take him to church, and he's an 8th generation Mormon, and he got to meet my pastor yesterday. Where else is these kind of conversations happening, both on and off camera? Where else, you know, that's the beauty of this whole endeavor, and that's why I think that there's a providential hand here. 3 years ago, I didn't know a single Latter-day Saint. Just think about that. And now look what this platform's become. It's become a place where the top scholars are lining up. I mean, literally. I mean, just think about this, folks. I mean, this Simon and Schuster. You probably been in those. They overnighted this to me. John DeLynn didn't get Romney. The Kay Coppin's on, right? And he tried. And John's a good friend. And he knows, you know, he congratulated me on this get. And that's my point, is like, this is the place where people come to now to get, I think, unbiased, unfiltered information. I don't come into this on a particular side or team. So I know that there are people in all the different communities know that I'm a trustworthy person. And this is a trustworthy platform. This is a safe space for all the different voices. So whenever I have my haters who go after me and say, you shouldn't book that guest, you shouldn't platform them, like they do with Jonathan Neville, like they do with Greg Batson, I just keep on bringing them back on and bringing them back on and bringing them back on. And when I do get resentful, because that it offends my libertarian sensibilities, I'm a First Amendment all the way kind of guy, and it just really concerns me to see this happening. Oh, Ice Cream Lady Driver. Hi, Steven. Just came in. I love your channel. Appreciate you for what you're doing. Sorry, I don't like Romney because I know what he is. Okay. Hey, that's fine. Ice Cream Lady Driver. Bring that to the table. Yeah, let's bring that to the table. You don't like I got a lot of flack for having, a lot of people don't like Mitt Romney, and okay, that's part of that's part of the conversation happening in the restoration, right? Um, Also, I wanted to say that Rebecca Biblioteca, I asked her if she could call in today and give us her weekend report, because she actually was at Thrive this weekend. And I asked her if she could call in, and she's not able to. And then I also wanted to say that I just heard from Summer Rain. Oh, Summer, I just picked up my kids from school. It'd be a little loud. Oh, I'm going to just tell her, call away, call. I want screaming kids in the background. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm going to text her back and say, Summer, call. All right. So maybe we can hear from Summer, because I want to tell her all about the exciting things happening. Just so you know, Summer Rain, by the way, isn't she an awesome co-host? Summer Rain and I are going to have talked to her father, who's the congressman who represents the 4th Congressional District, which covers the Salt Lake City. That's the Salt Lake City Congressional District. And that's probably one of the most competitive districts in the state. And we are going to go and we're going to reach out to every member of the Utah congressional delegation. And we're going to have them come on and talk about their faith journey. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to have their Democratic opponents come on. And I'm hoping that Summer, she'll be the co-host if they agree to it, because even though she's kind of the congressman's daughter, she'd like to be the co-host and talk to even her dad's Democrat opponent. And of course, there's independents or, whatever. We'll include them in there. We also want to reach out to all the candidates running for U.S. Senate, to replace Romney's seat, and have them come on and talk about their faith journey. So that's exciting. I think it's really cool to do that. So I'm thinking what we might do is we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think entering it, being that it's an election year, I think it's really important that we talk to these people. And the vast majority of my audience lives in Utah, so. And literally, each of these congressmen probably have thousands of subscribers and or viewers, regular viewers in their congressional district. So literally, even though I'm in a mobile home in Florida, if people from Utah want to actually reach people in Utah, they can come on the MBR platform, which is really exciting. And so, yeah, so let me think if there's anything else. So yeah, I had things have been going really good, lining up a bunch of really fantastic interviews. And, sometimes I do have controversial people on. Sometimes I have controversial guests on. Sometimes I have clickbaity thumbnails, and I do that for a reason. And trust me, people are like, "Oh, you're too clickbaity and all this kind of stuff." It's like, no, you don't know. I come from an evangelical world. Oh, I can go over the top when it comes to self promotion. We know how to do that really, really well. And I ran for political office, so I have all these skills. I generally hold back. Every once in a while, I'll go a little over the top just for fun. But for the most part, look, I think the stuff we're doing in this channel is absolutely fantastic. And we're a trailblazer. And I'm hoping that Summer gets this text message, because I just want her to call me with the kids in the background. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Come on, folks. Let's just, okay. So, oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So just for those of you in the chat, real quick, for those of you who'd like to get an acknowledgement by if you'd like to make a super chatted donation, $2, $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever. And you want me to give you a shout out, just donate now. And again, I'm not doing this for the money. It's really small potatoes when it comes to the finances here. But boy, I'll tell you, 5, 10, 15, $20, that makes a big difference. There are platforms where people like, oh, I'm going to get, this person has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I'm going to give them $5. Okay. They're not, they may not even acknowledge you. They probably will. They'll maybe post it on the screen, and then they'll forget you. But man, I'll tell you, if somebody gives me $5, $10, I'm like excited. I'm stoked. So I just want to let you know that it is always greatly appreciated. And yeah, people are referring to the spiral of silence in the chat. Yeah, the person who did the spiral of silence conversation is the person I talked to on the phone this morning about coming on and talking about this this disconcerting situation in which AI is apparently being used to go through people's content, even stuff they haven't released yet, and removing it. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Also, I'm doing this because there is not going to be any live newscast that people have gotten accustomed to watching. So I thought I'd fill the void a little bit with a little live. Some people like to get their live fix in, and I'm experimenting with the format. I did 4 Fridays in a row. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing this Friday. Andre Xerxes is the Mormon time traveler. We did a live feed on Friday, which I thought was really good. And I'm going to be releasing my interview I did with him last week. Him and I are going to probably do some just random live stuff together. He's got StreamYard, so that's really good. And we have some fun conversations with each other. So you'll probably see more of that. So we're going to experiment with the live format. Eventually, I'm going to transition to StreamYard so that it will be a little bit better, and I can have guests on. Right now, I can't do guests in this format. I'm just using the basic YouTube Studio tool. That's what I'm employing. It's really basic, very Spartan. But this has always been a basic Spartan operation. There's never been a whole lot of bells and whistles. We don't have opening music. We don't have super fancy graphics. Sometimes we'll do a little bit of that, but for the most part, I just turn on the Zoom call camera and we just start talking. And honestly, I'm doing this as for the dorks, the nerds, the geeks who really, really love this kind of stuff and don't really care if it's not perfect and in 4K and got all these graphics. This channel is about the content, and that's really what it is. So Rebecca Biblioteca got caught in a snowstorm this weekend on their way back from Thrive, so they had to be held up in a hotel, the last motel room on this roadside motel. They were able to get huddled up in there. And Jason Bro, yeah, kind of like Tiny Desk of the Mormon Book Reviews. Your content is great, though. Yeah, yeah. And so we like to have fun here at MBR. And one of the things that really kind of gets to me is how seriously people take themselves. So much is at stake, and it's like 10,000 years from now, nobody's going to remember our names. We will be, like it says in the scriptures, just dust in the wind, right? Nobody will remember our names. Nobody will remember any of this. What we think is so important now in the big sense of time and space and history, even just in the materialistically, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, I mean, people are afraid to think of this way, but 50 years from now, 100 years from now, nobody's going to remember my name or John DeLynne's name, Richard Bushman's name. I mean, the reality is that a few will, but for the most part, we need to be, and also within the context of eternity, it's such a small thing too. And so while we're running, Craig Sanderson in the house, $5. Thank you, $5. Thank you, Craig. Really appreciate it. In the big sense of things, as we're hurtling on this rock through space, and we have this remarkable species called Homo sapiens that somehow, some way made it this far, right? It's a beautiful story, whether you believe in there's a God or there's not a God. It's a remarkable story either way. And it's hard to fathom it either way, whether there's a God or not, right? Either way, it's remarkable. Our existence, our ability to have these conversations is amazing. And we have this ability as humans for great empathy and kindness and decency. And I tell people the reason why our ancestors made it was because they exhibited those qualities as a group, and that's why they outlived all of our other human ancestors, right? And we're just talking about materialistic evolutionary theory here, but I think most of them agree that it wasn't survival of the fittest. It was the survival of the people that took care of each other and were kind to each other. And I think that we have those qualities hardwired in us. We also have qualities hardwired in us that cause us to be very tribal, that cause us to be very fearful of people that are slightly different from us. I mean, some of the worst bad blood between people are the Baptist church that splits, and the one church they go down the street and they think they're worse than anybody, the worst people in the world. And one time they were all under the same roof. So even people that are in close knit communities, when they're torn to pieces, it's sad. And then we take what's happening in the religious world. It's so sad to see all the hatred and bigotry that's directed towards all the different groups, towards them and towards each other within those groups. Like, the Sunni Muslims think the Sufis and the Shia, and you got all these people going out and they're not true Muslims and they're killing each other. And we had it in Europe where Catholics and Protestants were. People like to think like, oh, Muslims, like, Islam is such a brutal religion because of all this violence. The war between Catholics and Protestants actually didn't end until the Easter of 1999 in Northern Ireland. Did you know that the physical war between Protestants and Catholics didn't end? Again, I'm saying this until 1999. So into the 20th century, Catholics and Protestants are still killing each other. Okay. This is not that long ago. And as we move into the 21st century, we recognize that is not the solution to mankind's problems, that people with different religious views should kill each other. We see it within the context of the evangelical world and the Latter-day Saint world. Well, the Latter-day Saints, evangelicals are many people that would have attended what we would understand to be evangelical churches were involved in the Hans Mill massacre. And then there was a group of people in the Mountain Meadows massacre. They would be conventional. Many of them would have probably been evangelical Christian churches that we would identify as evangelical today. They were all slaughtered by Latter-day Saints. So we know that the capability of violence directed toward our camps are there too. And I just think that, that's why I'm so critical of people who attack other people. I literally, somebody will not talk to me. A Christian apologist will not talk to me because of the church I attend. That's ugly. That's not Christian. That's the height of intolerance and bigotry. And I'm really making every good faith effort to reach out to these critics of mine, just try to get to start a conversation. And they keep on moving the goalposts on me. And it's very, very frustrating. And it's that same spirit. So I tell people, see, this is where it all comes down to, it is this, folks. There was a Presbyterian minister who went to the Smith family and told them that Alvin, Joseph's older brother, he had passed away, and told them that Alvin is in hell because he didn't have a Presbyterian baptism. And that is, in one sense, where you could argue Mormonism started right there. Well, I had that same spirit of another Presbyterian minister who went after me last December for attending that Bickerton night baptism. And he was like basically making this, he had the exact same spirit of that Presbyterian minister. So that Presbyterian minister's spirit is alive and well in today's modern evangelical church. Okay, folks. And that was the beauty about my church that I went to that I took Blake to yesterday. He got to meet my pastor, and guess what? My pastor didn't tell him he was going to hell. And I think that's really the better way to have conversations. Guess what? For those of you apologists who think who's going to hell, and you'll actually be asked particular names of people if they're in hell or not, and they say, yeah, probably not, that they're not in heaven, and therefore by implication they're burning and being tortured in hell. That's if you want to keep, if you're trying to if you want to start help start another group like the Restoration, that's how they get started, through such ignorance and hatred and bigotry. And I think it's just so sad to see that. And that's why I'm doing this thing. That's why I think it's really resonating with people. I think that's why people feel this is a safe space. I think that's why Blake felt comfortable knowing, hey, this is Steve's pastor. He's a cool guy. I want to check out his church, because he knew it was going to be a safe space for him too. And that was really awesome. And it was a real blessing to be able to worship with a Latter-day Saint at my church. And these kind of things are going to happen every single day. These conversations are going to happen every single day. And so really that's the key thing. So Craig Sanderson, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I'm going to I'm going to tell people who just started jumping on here briefly what happened. And by the way, if you'd like to donate to the channel, if you want to get a shout out, get your name out there, like Craig Sanderson, $5, thanks. Give a $5, $10, whatever, $1, I don't care. And let me thank you so much, because again, $5 goes a lot further here on Mormon Book Reviews than it does on a channel that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, or even 10 or 20,000 subscribers. It's always greatly appreciated. And of course, they always get more money because they're bigger, right? Well, people that give money to the bigger YouTube podcasters, trust me, it's a much bigger deal when you bring it to us small ones too. And so, but we're having a lot of good conversations with people. I just want to reiterate, go back to what we were talking about. Apparently artificial intelligence was used to go through one of my videos that I hadn't even released on Friday. I just uploaded it to YouTube. And apparently we said some things that were not correct or in their minds, and therefore without very little opportunity to make a defense, that all I had was a 2-sentence they only gave me enough room to give a 2-sentence defense of my video. It was taken down. So not a single human being watched that video, and AI had it taken down. I don't know where you stand on this, folks, and I don't even care what the issue is. It doesn't really even matter what the issue is that AI has gotten to the point now that apparently can determine what kind of stuff is going to be posted on YouTube now. And that is very concerning to me. This is a brave new world. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So, well, looks like Summer's not going to be calling. So that's fine. And I just wanted to hop up. Hold on a second here. I just wanted to hop on here for a little bit because, like I said, there's not going to be any weekly Monday night news program. And by the way, just so you know, sometimes I do get previews and I get to find out what they're going to be posting before they do. Of course, that's what's nice when you have friends in all those different camps, right? And yet also, part of me's thought about starting like some kind of news program too, because I feel like the kind of guests I would bring on and the perspectives I would bring on would be much broader. I think the issue I have is that some of the news programs essentially are just for an Exmo crowd, and then some of the other news programs are for a faithful crowd. And I really feel like we need a fair and balanced, unbiased news roundup type kind of weekly, the Mormon Times kind of thing, and I'm just wondering if I should do that. Although, I mean, I do so much, I don't know. But I'd like to maybe try to launch something like that, even if it's on another platform. Okay, so Jason Brewer, he did a lot of talking today, and then he puts up, give me $10. Jason Brewer in the house, $10 in the house. So we raised $15 today. This is so freaking cool. It's about half of what we got last time, but I talked about an hour last time. And if you want me to stop talking, I got a really good idea. If you want me to stop talking, just give me $100 donation right now. Yeah, put up or shut. Entirely kidding. Thanks, Jason. Yeah. This is what we ought to do. We ought to do a fundraiser where if you want me to stop talking, I'm going to keep talking until I raise the money. That'd be kind of funny too. Well, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to periodically drop. I just came on tonight because I wanted to have a little fun. I really do love doing this live give and take. And for those of you who are going to rewatch this, after a while, it takes a little while for it to rack through. But basically what happens is if you rewatch it, it will have the chat go along like it was live time in live as well. So you can follow. And so if you want to hear a lot of what Jason Brewer has to say, yeah, definitely check out the chat. He's dominating the chat today. So yeah, and it's cool. So a couple of things, just a couple of little homework, announcements. I'm going to be coming out to General Conference in April in Monongahela, Pennsylvania, for the Bickershonite Church of Jesus Christ. I'm going to be flying up there to attend their General Conference for this time. I've actually been invited by somebody from the church to attend the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm then that next week after I go to the General Conference, it's going to be just too much traveling. Then I'm going to be speaking, mark your calendar, Thursday, April 18th, 7 p.m. at the American Expo Center in Sandy, Utah, main stage, keynote speaker at Rod Meldrum's Firm Foundation. I'm going to be talking about a Protestant defense of the Book of Mormon and also about Zion, which I'm really excited about. They've given me top billing, which is pretty crazy. And I'm going to be talking about a Protestant defense of the Book of Mormon, which I think is going to be really fascinating. So if you are just type in Book of Mormon evidence, and their channel is going to come, their website is going to come right at the very top if you Google it. And you can sign up by March 15th is the early bird special. So if you want to get the cheapest rates, you can buy 1-day passes, 3-day passes. Go sign up, do the early bird special. And we're gonna see you on Thursday, April 18th in Sandy, Utah at the Book of Mormon Conference. Now, I also want to let people know that I'm probably going to do, and Rebecca will probably organize it. Maybe Summer Rain will organize it now. Summer's she's a good organizer. Trust me, she's really good at administrative stuff and organizing things. But probably on Wednesday the 17th, somewhere in the valley, we will have another meetup. We usually get about 20 to 30 people there. So it'll be a much more intimate affair than being in this conference with thousands of people. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to talk to everybody. But when you got a couple dozen, 20, 30 people show up, it's more doable. So if you'd like the opportunity to come and introduce yourself to me, that'd be so cool. Now, seeing you on Andre's, figured I'd stop by. Oh, this is from True Norther. Very interested in the Mormons now that I've lost my indoctrinations. Okay, Ambrose Nelson, dear ice cream driver. I used to drive Bruce's ice cream wagon in the Chicago area many decades ago. Oh, Chicago area guy. Yeah, I'm a region rat, just adjacent to the greater Chicagoland area. We never were fully ever accepted by the state of Indiana, nor were we fully ever accepted by the city of Chicago. We are our own kind of culture, but it is heavily influenced by Chicago more than it is by Indiana in many ways. There are a heck of a lot more Bears fans where I live than there are Colts fans. True Northers from Milwaukee in the house, great rival city. The Cubs, I love it when the Cubs go to Milwaukee and they make it Wrigley North. So thanks, True Norther, for hopping in. Yeah, he's from Andre's channel. He's the Mormon time traveler, and Andre Xerxes, and I like to call it. And so I'm expanding my audience to all these different groups, and we're doing live stuff and all these interesting channels. I'm going on another platform to discuss the issues I talked about. That we should fear the idea that AI is now that stuff that no human being has ever watched can be removed on these platforms now. And I don't know if we want to give that much power to artificial intelligence. I don't think they should be censoring like that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. We all know that I'm pretty grounded person, But I have to tell you, when things like that, you can't help but think 1984, right? Okay, so Craig Sanderson, $5 donation. Thank you so much. Jason Brewer finally putting up $10. Thank you, sir. True North, an old property we bought was scattered with Milwaukee's best beer cans throughout the property. Good old Strange Brew, huh? Happens to be my last. Oh, okay, I love that. So yeah, that's Milwaukee's best. That's really not that good. Just so you know, for those of you who don't drink, if you're going to ever try, don't try Milwaukee's best. I do not recommend that at all. All right, just please do yourself a favor. Okay, folks, True North, he calls it the Beast. That's awesome. So, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for joining me today. I want to thank so much. So we did actually raise a total of $65 because I had somebody donate to Venmo for $50. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate the $50 donation. Don't want to forget that. He also gave a donation to $100 last time I did this. So that's really greatly appreciated. And I just want to thank everybody for your love and your thoughts, your prayers, as we go on this adventure together. The world of Mormon podcasting, the world of Mormon scholarship is definitely looks and sounds a lot differently as a result of the work that we've been doing here on Mormon Book Reviews. I don't think anybody doubts that. And so, yeah, I think we're going to continue being part of the conversation. We're going to continue to be the trailblazers. We are going to continue to be the push the envelope. We are going to be the place where we continue to push against the dominant narrative. And we're going to be the place, the safe space where all the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews. I love all of you. You're all awesome human beings. Thanks for everybody who joined in the stream tonight. I'm having a blast. Life is good. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Please, life's too short, and have fun and stop and smell the roses. You know what I'm going to do right now? It's a beautiful day in Florida. I'm going to go out and take a nice little 15-20 minute walk. I'm going to walk off that piece of cookie I ate because I'm low carb, and I'm going to enjoy the weather, and I'm going to enjoy the creation. And every time I feel like stressed out or angry, somebody wants to know if I'm free in about 20 minutes. I'm about to leave work now. I don't know who that is. Let me see who that is. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. So just real quick before I let you go, this is actually an Assemblies of God pastor who's based in Utah, I believe, that I'm going to be talking to on my Utah Interfaith Forum. By the way, Monica is doing a really good job. We're going to get the Utah Interfaith channel lined up. We taped one interview last week with the BYU professor, and we're taping 2 interviews tomorrow. We're taping a 3rd interview on Thursday. Again, this is for the Utah Interfaith Forum. That's on YouTube. It's also a Facebook group. So put in for the Facebook group, Utah Interfaith Forum. That's my group there that was given to me by a Latter-day Saint. And go to YouTube and subscribe to the Utah Interfaith Forum. So it's got less than 300 subscribers. We're just building it, but that's going to be a place where we broaden out the conversations. And that's really, I really do appreciate everybody. And I thank you again for the donations that we received today. It's always appreciated, folks. And I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. So Blake, you make awesome molasses cookies. My mom thinks the world of them. I had a piece and it was really good. This is the real deal. Blake's Molasses Cookies. I think that's the name of your brand. That's what we should call it. We should market it. And we should make it like a holiday tradition because he says they're holiday tradition. Maybe you can just do like a Christmas business. I don't know. Either way, everybody, love you all. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know, even in the comments after watching this, what you thought about it. Also, what do you think about these live streams? Yes, I know it can be a little bit of stream of consciousness rambling, which I tend to do, but I like to do this, and I love hearing the feedback. So either way, everybody, thanks for everybody who donated in the chat. Thanks for everybody who chatted in the chat. Thanks for everybody who's going to be commenting on this video later today as you're watching it through the night and throughout the next few days. God bless and be well.